Every great Hollywood story begins with a single obsessive kid and a Super 8 camera. Jeffrey Jacob Abrams grew up in Los Angeles, surrounded by the machinery of entertainment. His grandfather handed him a camera, and something irreversible happened inside him. By 13, he was already selling short films to a production company in Hollywood. That kind of early hunger doesn't disappear. It compounds with every passing year. Abrams studied film at Sarah Lawrence, then broke into screenwriting before most peers had agents. His first major credit was co-writing Taking Care of Business at just 23 years old. Hollywood is littered with early bloomers who flame out before 30. Abrams did not. What set him apart was not just talent, but an almost mechanical ability to execute. The toy robot in the Bad Robot logo is more self-aware than it first appears. Before Bad Robot was an empire, it was a small television production shop with big ambitions. Felicity launched in 1998 and proved Abrams could build emotionally resonant worlds from scratch. The show ran 4 seasons and turned the WB network into a destination for young audiences. But Abrams was already restless, already imagining something louder and more kinetic. Alias arrived in 2001, a spy thriller so dense with mythology it practically invented modern fan obsession. Audiences didn't just watch Alias, they decoded it, theorized about it, lived inside it. Television was Abrams's laboratory, and every show taught him something new about audience psychology. He learned that mystery is a currency. Spend it wisely, and audiences will follow you anywhere. Bad Robot was officially incorporated in 2001, the same year Alias debuted on ABC. The company's name was deliberately absurdist, a signal that this was not a conventional operation. Within 3 years, J.J. Abrams had become one of the most bankable names in American television. Then came Lost, and nothing about American storytelling was quite the same again. The pilot episode cost $14 million, the most expensive in ABC network history at that time. Abrams co-created the show with Damon Lindelof and Jeffrey Lieber on an impossibly short deadline. The core idea was seductive: survivors of a plane crash trapped on an island full of secrets. But beneath the surface was something far stranger, a mythology that sprawled across time itself. Abrams famously described his creative philosophy as the mystery box: never reveal everything at once. That philosophy turned audiences into detectives and turned water coolers into war rooms. Lost averaged over 15 million viewers per episode at its peak. Staggering numbers even then. Bad Robot's reputation calcified into something rare, a brand audiences trusted before they even saw the product. Abrams stepped back from Lost midway through its run, a pattern that would repeat throughout his career. He was already looking ahead, already pointing the camera at something bigger on the horizon. Hollywood takes notice of television success only when the money becomes impossible to ignore. Paramount Pictures handed Abrams the keys to Mission Impossible 3 in 2006. It was a remarkable leap. From serialized drama to global action franchise in a single move, the film revitalized a franchise that had grown bloated and stylistically incoherent under John Woo. Abrams brought emotional stakes back to the action. The villain was terrifying precisely because the hero had something to lose. Mission Impossible 3 grossed nearly $400 million worldwide against a $150 million budget. Success at that scale doesn't just open doors, it blows the entire wall down. Paramount offered Bad Robot a first-look deal, cementing Abrams as a studio-level power player. 2 years later, Cloverfield arrived, a found-footage monster film marketed with almost no traditional advertising. The viral marketing campaign became a case study taught in film schools and business schools alike. Bad Robot wasn't just making movies, it was engineering entire cultural conversations around them. Star Trek was a franchise on life support, beloved by devotees but invisible to mainstream audiences. Paramount gambled on Abrams to resurrect it, despite his public admission that he preferred Star Wars. The 2009 Star Trek reboot was a surgical strike of nostalgia, spectacle, and genuine human emotion. It earned $385 million globally and won an Academy Award for makeup. More importantly, it proved that Abrams could take a calcified mythology and make it feel urgent again. Critics who expected disaster instead found a film that honored the source while escaping its gravitational pull. The lens flare aesthetic became instantly iconic and instantly divisive, which was exactly the point. Abrams understood that a visual style creates an emotional frequency, audiences recognize before they consciously register it. Two sequels followed, each commercially successful, cementing Trek as a functioning franchise once more. Bad Robot's balance sheet was growing in ways that gave it genuine leverage inside the studio system. Super 8 in 2011 was J.J. Abrams writing a love letter to the cinema that made him. It was also a collaboration with Steven Spielberg, the director Abrams had idolized since childhood. The film captures something almost impossible to manufacture: the specific feeling of being a kid with a camera. Spielberg produced, Abrams directed. A passing of the baton that neither man made explicitly sentimental. Super 8 was not the biggest hit of Abrams's career, but it may be the most honest. It reminded audiences and critics that underneath all the franchise machinery was a genuine filmmaker. Bad Robot was expanding beyond film and television into music, publishing, and video games by this point. The company had quietly become a multimedia engine, not simply a production house. Every new division added leverage. And leverage in Hollywood is the only currency that compounds reliably. In 2013, Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4 billion and immediately needed someone to lead Star Wars back. The call went to J.J. Abrams, the man who had revived Star Trek and refused to call himself a fan. The Force Awakens carried the weight of 30 years of fan expectation and Disney's financial projections. It opened in December 2015 and became the third highest-grossing film in history at the time. $2 billion worldwide confirmed what studios already suspected: Bad Robot delivered under pressure. The film was not universally adored by critics, but it was universally seen, which matters more commercially. Abrams returned to close the sequel trilogy with The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, under painful circumstances. He had been called back after director Colin Trevorrow departed, inheriting a fractured creative vision. The Rise of Skywalker was divisive, a film trying to do too much under impossible institutional pressure. But even its failures revealed something important: nobody else in Hollywood gets handed these particular problems. You only get given the keys to the most valuable franchise in cinema if someone deeply trusts you. In 2019, Bad Robot signed a reported $500 million deal with WarnerMedia. It was one of the largest overall deals in Hollywood history for a single production company. The deal covered film, television, games, and digital content. A full-spectrum creative arrangement. Bad Robot was no longer a production company. It was a content infrastructure inside a media conglomerate. The company employs hundreds of people and operates across multiple studios and streaming platforms simultaneously. Katie McGrath, Abrams's wife and partner, serves as CEO and has been foundational to the company's scale. Bad Robot Games launched to develop original interactive narratives, extending the company's storytelling into new dimensions. The company has committed publicly to diversity initiatives that changed how it hires writers and directors. In an industry allergic to accountability, Bad Robot's public commitments set an uncomfortable benchmark for competitors. The empire now has genuine institutional weight, the kind that outlasts any single hit or miss. The question worth asking now is not what Bad Robot has built, but what it represents. It represents the idea that a single creative sensibility, applied consistently, can reshape an entire industry. Abrams proved that television and film were not separate ecosystems, but adjacent rooms in the same house. He understood franchise revival before studios had language to describe what they were trying to do. The mystery box philosophy is not just a creative technique. It is a business model. Audiences who feel the pull of mystery keep returning, keep purchasing, keep investing emotionally in the work. Bad Robot's greatest product is not any single film or series. It is anticipation itself. No other production company in modern Hollywood has its logo function as a promise the way Bad Robots does. That wobbly toy robot is not just a corporate identifier. It is a signal flare aimed at the imagination. J.J. Abrams started with a Super 8 camera and a grandfather willing to believe in him. He ended up with a billion-dollar empire built on the oldest and most powerful tool in storytelling: the unanswered question.